Okay. So you see the screen, right?
Yes.
All right. Oh, sorry. I totally forgot to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Isabel. I'm from Troop 33101, from Florida. I'm working on my gold award, so this is the badge that I'm teaching for seniors. Okay?
Okay.
So the requirements for this badge are to meet an eco explorer, explore biodiversity, investigate a global ecosystem issue, plan a trip to explore and work on an issue, and share what you've learned. Okay?
Okay.
So the first requirement is meet an eco explorer. You could fulfill this by talking to a traveler, to a conservationist, or by researching an eco activist from either the past or the present. Okay?
Okay.
All right. This is one of the people that I researched. Her name is Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. She fought for the protection of Florida's sawgrass swamps to prevent the wetlands from being drained and developed. She published a book called The Everglades, the Grass. Her book brought the public's attention to this important habitat, and eventually the Everglades National Park was created in 1947. Marjorie Douglas was also a journalist and a suffragette. That means that she fought for women's right to vote. I also looked up Rachel Louise Carson, who's most well known for her book The Silent Spring. She's an author, marine biologist, and conservationist. Her book The Silent Spring was about pesticides, and even though she got a lot of backlash from companies, it led to the creation of nationwide policies that banned DDT and other pesticides. It also led to the creation of the U.S. Environment Protection Agency, which earned her the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And then the third person that I looked up was Molly H. Beatty, who was the first female director of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. She oversaw the reintroduction of gray wolves to the Yellowstone area and installed 15 wildlife refuges and over 100 habitat conservation plans. If you'd like, you can also do your own research on other eco explorers to fulfill this badge. But otherwise, the research that I did will suffice as well. Okay.
Okay.
So that's the first requirement. The second requirement is explore biodiversity. So what do you think biodiversity is? You can put it in the chat if you don't want to say it. I'll just continue it then. Biodiversity is the variety of life in the world or in a particular habitat or ecosystem. All of this means is that biodiversity is all the different of plants, animals, all life forms in an area. It could be on a worldwide scale, it could be in a country or just one forest. In the natural world, everything is connected. Things that happen to one species in an ecosystem often affect many other species. This is why ecosystems with more biodiversity are more resistant to disasters. So for this requirement, you would research what biodiversity is, which I just explained, and then why it's important. So for the example that I have, I used the overhunting of gray wolves in Yellowstone because they were almost extinct in Yellowstone for about 100 years due to overhunting. This led the coyotes to run out of control, and the elk and deer populations skyrocketed because they weren't getting eaten by the wolves. This threw the ecosystem out of balance because the elk and deer were overgrazing, so the vegetation and trees in the area were getting eaten too fast and the forest couldn't regrow. If you would like, you can research a different biodiverse ecosystem and learn about the roles of each of the species, and then wonder, like, what would happen if one of them wasn't there. So this will be important for your take action later. As a group or as an individual, you can go on a walk outside and record any plants or insects or fungi that you see in a notebook, and like draw them, describe them, or take photos, and then research what you saw to find out what they are and what they do. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. The third requirement is investigate a global ecosystem issue. So this is basically you research a cause that decreases biodiversity. So it could be like deforestation and invasive species. The one that I looked up was drought because my project is about water conservation. Drought can cause more stress on water sources and less fruit and vegetation for herbivores. This leads to a higher mortality rate and a lower breeding rate, causing some species to die out in certain areas. On a short-term basis, increasing of dying herbivores would be good for predators because they could scavenge the corpses, I guess you could say. But when they don't repopulate, they'll have nothing to hunt and they'll die too. And then when there's no more decomposing matter, the fungi will die, so the soil will be less nutritious. And if the plants have not yet died from lack of water, they would have from lack of nutrients. And that is how drought affects the biodiversity of a whole ecosystem. You could do something similar like with this with like invasive species or deforestation, or climate change, stuff like that. All right.
Okay.
Next. You can think about what changes you can make to help the ecosystem and just like pick one and do it for like a week or two or maybe a month. You can use the journals that I mentioned earlier to record what you're doing, the benefits and challenges, like whether your family is doing it with you or not, what the cost is, or if it has a cost at all. Like for example, to put less stress on water sources during a drought, you could take shorter showers, use front loading laundry washing machines. I don't remember what they're called right now. You can turn off the tap when you're brushing your teeth or try taking navy showers, which is basically you get yourself wet and then you turn off the shower and then you put on all the soap and then you rinse it all off. And that would save water. For the fourth requirement is plan a trip to explore and work on an issue. So for this, you could go visit a natural history museum or a museum with a natural history exhibit. If you can't go in there like in person, you can do it online. I have a link there. If you would, on my Facebook page, you can find this, so you can find the link there. Or you could visit a local refuge or park service to ask the staff what they do and how you can help. Okay.
Okay.
All right. On these trips, you're gonna want to make sure that you know the seven principles of leave no trace, so that you can be as eco-friendly as possible and have as low an impact as possible. These are usually applied to camping trips, but they can apply to any trip at all. Okay. So the first
Okay.
one would be plan ahead and prepare, which is know the rules of the area you will visit, like check the weather, schedule trips to avoid times of high use. It's basically knowing where you're going, how you're going to get there, what you're going to do there, so you can be as thoroughly prepared as possible. The second part of leave no trace is travel and camp on durable surfaces. So that would be established trails and campsites. This would be like rock, gravel, dry grass. Camping 200 feet away from lakes and streams and using pre-made campsites or trails. The third part of leave no trace is dispose of waste properly. So it's pack it in, pack it out. Get rid of all your trash the correct way, away from bodies of water if they need to be left in the environment, if it's like water and stuff. The fourth part of leaving a trace is leave what you find. So like look at, but don't touch it. Leave behind rocks, plants, seed cells, flowers, anything. Don't build structures or dig trenches. The fifth one is minimize campfire impact. So using lightweight stoves for cooking has a lower impact than a firewood. You can, and if you need a fire, you can keep it small and put it out completely. And you should make fires in established fire rings or pans or mounds. Respect wildlife is basically just stay away from the wildlife, don't touch it, don't feed it, just look at it. And then there is the seventh part, which is, the seventh part, which is leave no trace of, be considerate of other visitors. So basically, respect other visitors and be courteous and like keep your voice down so that you don't disturb them. And then the take action is the share what you've learned. So that journal that I mentioned earlier, where you go for a walk and you like jot down whatever you see so you can research it later, or the biodiversity thing that I mentioned, like what limits biodiversity. Those things that you put in your notebook, you would use those to like to teach others about what you learned. So you can do a blog or a type of social media using your notebook entries as inspiration. I would really love it if you could share your take action with me on Facebook, with my Facebook group. I'm gonna put my email in the chat, okay? In case you want to email me any questions or anything, okay?
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay. So what do you have to do with the take action? All you really have to do at this point is the take action. And like do the museum visit, okay?
Okay.
I almost forgot. I have fun patches. Like I have this one that's a little raindrop, and then I have this one that has a narwhal on it. It looks backwards. Can you see that? I have this one with a narwhal on it. So if you email me your mailing address, I can send you a patch. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any other questions about the presentation, the badge, the project, the gold award, anything?
No.
Okay. Well, that's all that I have. Have a lovely evening, and thank you for coming. I really appreciate your participation.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.